set up the easel in the lobby, put the proposal on there, and walked out. And believe it or not, later that day we were at Mortons having a glass of wine, and who walks in?
Do business with this guy. His name's Bradley. He's out of Mobile, Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
How much you've learned about us, but we started this firm, 3 of us, 5 years ago, and we had worked previously in another firm that my dad was a partner in, and left and started this. So we put in full cereal bar, so we stock all different kinds of milks, and that was 2 names that everybody like. It was Weinstein. Where's that guy? I want to talk to that guy. No, like I didn't want to set up our producers that run into that problem. So past week about cruising. What do you like? He's like, oh, it's the same reason I don't wear a suit. I'll never wear a suit, dude. I mean,
told him
I'm the same way.
I'm throwing all my khakis away. So I've had this this marketing campaign in my head for a while that I haven't done. Positioned myself as the anti-khaki because I wear jeans every day.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, I may kick that off by doing like throwing all my khakis, like taking them to Goodwill or something.
Yeah.
Like I'm
awesome.
never gonna freaking wear khakis again.
Awesome.
A buddy of mine last night invited me to a networking event that you have to have like so much net worth to go to. Just and I was gonna go as his guest.
Yeah.
And he's like, but you can't wear jeans. I'm like, I'm not going.
Harass me again. I'm not going to do that because then you're going to know I'm a liar. You're never going to trust me again.
Right.
We're going to do a big campaign on anti-insurance consultants because I'm a firm believer that if you hire an insurance consultant, it's because you don't trust your agent. Find an agent. And so we're in the process of doing that, and there's going to be a lot of insurance consultants out there who already hate us.
So you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. Find somebody else. If you, we have a client who spends, they're not a client of ours yet. Somebody we're going after that spends $150,000 a year on an insurance consultant, and I'm like, it seems like a big waste of money. Why do you do that? Because we don't, we want to make sure we're getting the best quotes possible. Mind you,
shouldn't have to do that.
Mind you, the insurance consultant's the one hiring the agent,
and getting a kickback,
which are probably 100%. And I was like, they do claims for us. Well, I do all that shit. We have a claims department. I handle everything in house. Everything you're paying $150,000 a year for, we do for free. And it's hard to stop, but it sends a message. It tells the client like, we do that too. Like, I prefer. So like, we don't.
Their quote's not going to affect mine.
We don't print proposals anymore. Everything goes out on a tablet, which comes back with us.
Okay.
So if you want it, I will email it to you, but that means I'll email it to you when I get back to my office.
Your producer takes the tablet and delivers it.
And does a presentation and sits down. Everybody at the table gets a tablet, and they collect the tablets and they leave.
Like a week from now, I'm going to tell you, what was that thing that guy told me that was really cool?
Yeah.
With all the information I'm about to get in the next 2 days, that's the coolest thing I've heard.
And mind you,
that is pretty cool.
iPads are expensive. Amazon Kindles cost $150.
Boom.
That's awesome.
So a lot of little things like that. So these are all produced. Them, it was, Jag's going to be a media company that sells insurance. Not the other way around.
Preach my language.
And we didn't go.
We should do something together. We got
Dude,
sound there, right? I'm not worried about
Yeah, it's pretty solid on
We
this.
didn't go to New York to like hire Gary. We went because there was a series of events that landed me on the phone with him.
Really?
Yeah. And
Explain that.
So when they came out with Mentors, I've been following him for quite a while, and they came out with a program like a year before Mentors which he called, or they called for small business, which was like $25,000 a month.
Beta, I think.
Some shit like that. It's like $25,000 a month. I was like, God, it's still really expensive.
You guys good with this?
Huh?
You guys good with this?
100%.
Yeah.
It was like $25,000 a month. And so when they came out with Vayner Mentors, I was like, okay, well, if the last one was at $25,000 a month, this must be more in our price range. And it was like 2 to 100 million. That's us. Like, so I made an inquiry in the website, like, hey, give me a call. So then Mark Evans, who's like one of his top guys, I didn't know this at the time, gives me a call. I was like, we have this conference call about what the program's like. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. Send me, how much is it? Oh, I'll send you the pricing. So I get an email with the pricing, and I'm like, I fall on my chair.
100 grand.
No, a lot more than that. And that's only part of it. And so I'm like, dude, this is crazy. So I like, all right, I owe the guy a response. So I write this like lengthy email about why I thought this was crazy. And essentially part of my email was, I don't know if you're a big sports guy, but part of my email was like, the way that our business works versus a lot of the other clients that are just selling products where, okay, like if you're able to triple my business and I'm selling shoes, all I got to do is call the factory in China and say, speed up production, I need more shoes.
Right.
But if you're going to double my book of business in this business, I need more office space, more employees. Like, to scale is not the same as in the customer service business, and that there's no way I could be so out of pocket up front and also be able to sustain that type of growth with the amount of money we'd have to spend. So I was like, if I ever even considered doing something like this, it would have to be more like a Bobby Bonilla contract where I give you a little bit here for the rest of my life, and that makes more sense for me. Never heard from him. And then like a week later I get an email. It's like, hey, got your email. I share it with Gary. He wants to talk to you. And I was like, all right, let's do this.
How long ago was this?
A year ago.
Okay.
And
did you come to the event last year?
No.
Okay.
No. So I'm telling him a little bit about myself. He's telling me about how the program's not for everybody. And I was like, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I only did this because I want to be your insurance agent. And he's like, well, I was like, who do you buy insurance from? He's like, I don't know. I have no idea. You want a shot at it? I was like, yeah. He goes, I don't even care if you sign up with Mentors, but you can quote all our shit. And I was like, look, thank you. Having said that, if I'm going to explore the Mentors program anymore, I'd rather go to New York, see the operation. You don't need to be there. He's like, no, I'm going to be there. I want to meet you. So I'm like, all right, cool. So hang up the phone, because that's how I am. When I get the deal, that's what I want. I got what I wanted. I hang up the phone. I call Fernie, our other partner, Lewis. We're going to New York. So we fly to New York. Sure as shit. Walk in the office. COO, in-house attorney, and one other person were sitting in the room. What do you need from us? I was like, well, I called. I'd asked, if we could have some sort of synopsis of the insurance you guys covered. Boom. There's everything. And essentially what Gary said was, when you put all your cards on the table, you win. You told me what you wanted. I'm okay with that. Here you go. And so then they exit the room. Gary comes in like a bat out of hell. He's like, talk to me, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, we already took care of the insurance part. Let's talk Mentors. And I think that he understood who we were and what our objectives were. And then he brings in this like team of people that are just like stud after stud after stud. It was James Orsini, who's the COO, Maribel, Laura, Mark Evans, and Sid is like his.
So they did the mentor thing there.
Oh, yeah. So they pitched us, and so I dragged these guys along because I was like, fuck, we're gonna need Gary Vee. Let's do this shit. Let's go check it out. And the amount of money and the commitment that is required by Mentors, it's a lot, dude. And if I'm only 1/3 of this pie and I really believe in it, I'm a lot crazier than he is and our other partner is. So I didn't expect them to see what I saw, right? And that's why our business works so well, because believe it or not, the three of us are three of the most different human beings you ever met in your life. We're so fucking different. And we walked out of the office, and we were walking the High Line back to our hotel, and he looked at me, he goes, we're fucking doing this. And I was like, and then our other partner Lewis is like, yeah, we are. Let's do this shit. And we've grown to where we're at today. We've never borrowed a dollar. We have zero debt to anybody in our life, and we're like, well, this is gonna have to come out of our pocket. And like,
it's
all
been
right, let's fucking do it.
growth, man. It's hard work for the last decade, man.
And let's fucking do it. So we call, like, I don't even think we got back to the hotel yet. Oh no, I tried to wheel and deal him a little bit. We went to dinner that other night and we drank like 14 bottles of wine. And so I emailed the guy Mark and I'm like, look, we're gonna do this, but when he buys the jets, we get 2%. And he didn't even acknowledge the fact that I wrote that. And I was like, all right, whatever. At least we get to be the insurance agents. All right, that's cool. And so we signed up with them and then took 2 more trips up to New York. They came down here.
They're great people. Man.
They're amazing people, and literally
the mentors people come down here.
Yeah, Mark and James and these guys in Maribel and Sid.
And our last meeting with them, where they kind of issued our growth plan, because we're just at about 50 million a year in premium.
Yeah.
And our goal is to be at 100 million in the next 3 years. And essentially, this growth plan was to get to 100. Like, you got to do this. I mean, we're talking, what was it, 165 pages?
It's called the Jag Bible.
The Jag Bible.
That's what we call it.
Authored by Gary Vaynerchuk.
Where did he bring it? He drew it up. He said, if you do this.
How impressive was that? Because I think sometimes a so-called growth plan, it might be stuff you already knew, but it's just you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Dude, because we weren't very active on social media at all, and because what we do on a daily basis is a little more high level.
Right.
You know, the policies we're selling are between $250 and a couple million bucks. Social media never really seemed like the right avenue to attract more people.
Right.
But then we learned that we don't need to attract clients. We just need people to know who we are. So I got introduced to a very large real estate fund in LA. So a guy called me, tight relationship between us. If he had already known or at least heard the name or seen our logo, it would have meant volumes before I flew out to LA to meet this guy. And so
there's going to be 50 people at this conference that I don't know, but I feel like I know them because they're active on social media.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so that was essentially, when you go to mentors, it's actually, we're the only mentor team or company that they took through a branding process. Everybody else, their growth plan was around personnel, inventory, different aspects of scaling a business. When they looked at our business, they were happy about the way we ran our business and the business that was coming in. And it was essentially like, look, if you want everybody in the world to know who you are, you need to do X, Y, and Z. And that's what the growth plan was about. So we're executing it, like kind of like with our eyes closed, blind faith. And we know for a fact that it's working because there are people that we went after 3 years ago that are calling us now. He just had another phone call this morning for probably $1 million policy, somebody that we went after 12 months ago, and for some odd reason, they're all calling us now.
It's so crazy, and nothing's changed.
Nothing.
I mean, in a sense of like, what we know now, we knew back then, except now people just know the brand, and the power of the brand.
So it was kind of all centered around the brand, growing the brand itself.
So they changed our logo. We are developing a new website. They changed pretty much. We used to, because it's Jag, we used to play off the Jaguar quite a bit, which was annoying because there's a competitor of all of ours who uses a cheetah, and it was a little confusing. And so they're like, look, stop leading with the fear. Like, every insurance agent in the world wants to be like, you gotta buy insurance because your house burns down, your kids are gonna be sleeping on the street, and they're gonna be cold. And it's like, stop leading with that shit.
That wasn't even our style, our approach.
And I guess the Jaguar itself comes off like a little aggressive. So like, ditch that. They created this new logo that really speaks more to who we are. They did again, 165 pages worth of recommendation, and not even really recommendations, requirements, I'd say, that we're just executing one by one. So
I love it.
We went to sell him and he sold us. But
I got one question. Did you close the deal?
So not yet. We when we went in there, it was only a couple weeks before their big shit renewed, and we still took a stab at it. And that's a story for off camera.
Turn it off. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
So that kind of started getting a little bit of traction. The second thing we did, that was the most key thing that we did, is we had some of the early days. Like a year ago, so he might have had a big following. So you remember the guy that ate the stinky fish on camera, the insurance agent? He ate a fish on camera.
Yes, I do.
And if he didn't throw up, his kids got a bite.
Yes.
And he had a shirt on that said "Call me for the quote." Like, that video got 40 million views.
Yeah.
We had him on.
Yeah.
And he he actually set out to go viral. He's like, what goes viral, and that's what I'm going to do. But anyway, so that was the two things that we did, and my producer calls it coattailing. So we basically looked for people who already had followings, and that's kind of how we.
And that's what I try to do, or I literally go on Instagram and I like look for hashtag with sports or like with the sports.
Well, now you're doing
because
it without knowing it, because these baseball players already have huge followings. Like
right.
Already has
like what? Like for instance, we went up to the PA about 2 years ago, and I'm trying to catch their attention as best as I can. Because one of the things that I offered was like, look, I know that I'm one of the fucking millions athletes that went through the professional system, but I'm actually one that cares on how to help these guys. So like, utilize me, help them, because you guys. I understand you've got, to me the minor league baseball system is simple. It's a circus, right? You've got the main character, but the character can't play by himself. He needs a surrounding cast. But dude, a lot of the guys that I played with, or a lot of guys that have gone through the system are great athletes. And not only are they great athletes, they're smart, they're prepared. They have a skill set, man, that I think can be used in business and in life. But when you're a Dominican kid, or you're from here, it doesn't matter, and you've invested your whole life. You've invested into baseball, for instance, or it could be anything else. And from one day to the next, it's gone. It's hard, bro. It's tough, dude. You know,
offers to be bought. We had one today, all the fucking time, and. I couldn't. Like, where else am I gonna wear jeans to work, and where the fuck I want, and like go see my kids play or whatever.
Be us, bro. Like, I can't wait to get out of here, go see my kids practice. Like, I don't need some guy calling me in.
Well, not just that. It's funny. We went to a dinner one night that there was because we always let them take us to dinner and shit. Never take a free dinner. And so we'll go out and we'll listen, and this guy was like, like, you're making a huge mistake, like a cycle, like, because everybody's being bought right now. A cycle like this only comes once in a year, or once in 10 years. Right, you're fucking up. And I go, oh, so I'm gonna be 45. Oh, okay. I'll wait for the next cycle. Like, you might be fucking old and not
going to be 80. I'll be 45.
Exactly. So
that's awesome.
We those things come and go a lot. But are you a sports fan at all or no?
I am.
What sport?
Mostly college football.
Yeah, so I'm a big time college football fan. Roll Tide, bro.
I'm an Auburn fan.
Roll Tide here.
Okay, so actually my little cousin is actually
I'm good
Auburn.
though.
My little cousin, he did.
Yeah.
He's a CPA. He's gonna work for one of the big five. I think they're headquartered in Tampa. I'm not exactly sure.
Done.
I'm a generalist.
Bro, we've been kicked out of so many conference rooms. I'll never forget. I did a quote. It's one of our best stories. I did a quote once. I don't know if you can see it over here. One of these big buildings over here.
The one that we
and I smoked it. They had shown me their price from Aon. I fucking smoked it, and I was like so pumped. And then I called the guy, and I'm like, he's not answering the phone. I'm like, what the fuck? It's Halloween day. This is like probably almost 10 years ago. It's Halloween day. He's not answering the phone. This is like one of the first 6-figure accounts we had ever quoted. And so I start flipping out. So I'm like, what are we going to do? I know it's CO's like in the next week. If I don't get in front of this guy, we're fucked. So I was like, it's Halloween day. I was like, I know what I'm going to do. Freddie knows when I get this weird look in my eye. So we called Fast Signs, which is like a printing company, and we blew up our proposal on like a 4-foot by 3-foot. And we went to Office Depot and I bought a diesel. And we were all dressed up because our office dressed up for Halloween. So I was dressed up as Garth from Wayne's World. He was dressed up as like Batman or some shit. And I was like, let's go. So we go to their office building of the developer. And I was like, oh, is so-and-so here? And they're like, oh, he's tied up a meeting, so sorry. So I'm just going to leave this here. So we set up the easel in the lobby, put the proposal on there, and walked out. And believe it or not, later that day, we were at Mortons having a glass of wine. And who walks in? This dude. And he walks straight over to us. And he goes, that was the most impressive thing I've ever seen in my life. You're not getting the business because the guy from an insurance company invested in the building last minute. And so I can't say no to an investor, but I've never seen anything like that in my life.
That's awesome.
And we've like just constantly done shit that we have no business doing. We just figure it out along the way.
Now we're in the big leagues.
I'm glad we came here.
Yeah, dude.
That separate yourself from that. What separates you from all the other 16 players, And that's what I preferably a cornerbacks, and have them go on camera and say, know what good coverage looks like. Dude! My man Bradley Flowers. Dude! And run, right? I already ordered one. Dude. It's like $38 for a 10-second video.